That is not Islam at all. And because we allow these people to interpret Islam, that is what Islam has degenerated into. Islam is a great religion. It is a religion which converted the Jahiliyah Arab, the ignorant Arabs, into the founders of the greatest civilization in the history of mankind. A civilization that spreads from China to Spain in the West. It's a great civilization, far superior than the civilization of Europe at that time. Indeed, Europe was living in the Dark Ages when Islam was already very far advanced, as mentioned by Tan Sri just now. All the great scientists, all the great mathematicians and all that were from the Muslim world. I am afraid that when we talk about the past greatness of Islam, we are actually admitting the lack of greatness today. It was glorious before, therefore it is not glorious now. And why is it not glorious now? I believe that in the past, people follow more closely the teachings of the Quran without having interpreters like writing books and giving their interpretation, which sometimes conflict with each other and has resulted in the Muslims being divided into different sects. We have now the Sunnis, the Shia, the Wahhabis, the Alawites, and the followers of Al-Zahari and Ayapin and the like. Yeah, well, lots of people believe in Ayapin. I was told that they even drink the water that he uses to wash his feet in. That's how stupid we can get. So, because of this, following interpreters rather than going to the Quran, we have been broken into many, many different sects, and we are fighting each other, despite the fact that Islam does not advocate factional fighting. Indeed, Islam forbids killing, and Islam declares that all Muslims are brothers and sisters, of course. All Muslims are brothers and sisters. Who is a Muslim? There is a fondness among some people to give their own interpretation of who is a Muslim. I was involved once in the conversion of a non-Muslim to Islam, and all I did was to hold his hand and ask him to repeat after me, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, and Muhammad is his messenger. That's all. When he says that, he is a Muslim. But we say, you must say that, and then I belong to this party, therefore I am Muslim. Are we? Is that in the Quran? It says that you have to say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, dan saya adalah anggota ataupun ahli dalam parti ini, baru Islam. This is addition to the interpretation of Islam. So, but if you accept that it is this declaration of faith that makes you a Muslim, then all of us, whether you are Sunni, Shia, Wahhabi or whatever, we are all Muslims. And nobody has the right to declare, oh, he is not Muslim because he doesn't belong to my party. Or he is not Muslim because he practices a different interpretation of Islam. We cannot. For as long as he makes the declaration that there is no Allah but, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. That's all that you need to say to become a Muslim. But now we have people making new qualifications. You are not a Muslim if you don't do what I tell you to do. So Islam has now been broken up into many different sects, which happened, of course, in the past to the Christian religion as well. But when it happens to the Muslims, we see today the thing becoming ever more extreme, so that now we are killing each other. In the name of Islam, we are killing each other. We are torturing each other. So if you go back to Islam without this Islamization, just go back to Islam as is found in the Quran, I feel that we will become great again, once again. It is because we desert the Quran that we have become what divided as we are today, fighting each other. Now, we are fond of telling people that Islam is a way of life. Islam is a deen, a way of life. Because Islam governs every phase, everything that you do while you are alive. A way of life, not a way of death. It is a way of life. And if you look in or read the Quran in a language that you understand, you will find guidance there for everything that you do. For example, Islam promotes brotherhood among the Muslims. Yes, in the Quran there are two different verses. One is very clear and specific. The other is in the form of allegories, which you may interpret differently according to what you understand from the story that is being told to you. But for the verses which are direct and clear, anybody can read the Quran and understand it. But you have to read in a language that you can understand. Yeah, I completed reading the Quran in Arabic when I was, I think, about 13 years old. Khatam Quran. But I know nothing about it. What I know is what my guru tells me. And the guru is a very human person. Some of the things he tells me was right, but there are lots of things which, now that I know more about Islam, I find is not quite right. But that is the Islam that we practice. Not the Islam of the Quran, but the Islam of our teachers. And our teachers are human, even if they are great scholars, but they are still human, and they can make mistakes. We say that they can make mistakes because the interpretation of one is different from the other. There are many teachers, many ulamas, many scholars, and their interpretation of Islam differ from each other, so much so that they regard the others as not Islamic or not Muslim, and they even say that you can kill them because they are not Muslim. That's the result of following the interpretations and not going back to the Quran. Of course, they don't encourage us to read the Quran in a language that we understand. I suspect that it is because you don't understand, then it is easier to tell you fibs about the Quran. Maybe, I don't know, it's bad of me to say so, but sometimes their interpretations are quite different from what I find in the Quran. For example, with regard to judgment in a case of any crime, for example, we are told that you must have 4 witnesses who are free from major sins. Can you imagine getting 4 witnesses free from major sins when a woman is being raped? And the 4 people look, now we can be witness. We are good people, Now she's being raped by this man. We'll go to the court and tell. You don't help the woman? You just watch? This was based on a hadith where the Prophet, one of the wives of the Prophet was accused of doing something with some young man, and there was no witness. So he then emphasized that there must be 4 good witnesses. But is it always that in Islam, before making a judgment, you must have 4 witnesses? Can you not use circumstantial evidence, for example, as used in the court of law? Is there any provision in the Quran about circumstantial evidence? I think you know the story of Yusuf and Zulaikha. At Malay weddings, you find the imam, the man who reads the dua, mentions the names of the couples who should be your model. There's Mohamad and Khatijah and so many others, including Ibrahim and all. These are the models for us. We should, after marriage, follow them. But among the couple that was mentioned when they baca doa is Yusuf and Zulaikha. Yusuf and Zulaikha were not married. She was married to somebody else. But she yearned after Yusuf and tried to seduce him. And when he ran away, Zulaikha chased after him. Is this a nice couple? You want to be used as a model? And you go to any wedding and they will say that, Yusuf and Zulaikha. Yusuf and Zulaikha were never married. It was infatuation on the part of Zulaikha for Yusuf. It's not a good model. But beyond that, when the shirt of Yusuf was found to be torn from the back, if you read this in the Quran, it states, all this is clear in the Quran. Because the shirt of Yusuf was torn at the back, this was taken as evidence that it was Zulaikha who was chasing after him. No forwardness, just a torn shirt. If the torn shirt had been in front, you can imagine that perhaps Yusuf was trying to rape Zulaikha, and Zulaikha might be struggling and pulling away at his shirt front and tearing it. But Yusuf's shirt was torn at the back. The conclusion is that it was Zulaikha who was chasing after Yusuf. That is circumstantial evidence. Now we are asked to use the Quran as a guide. It's not only about the 4 witnesses. It is also about how a Muslim must judge any case that comes before him to be just. You must judge with justice. Apabila kamu hukum, hukumlah dengan adil. Surely you can't blame Yusuf for trying to rape Zulaikha because he was trying to run away and it was Zulaikha who was chasing after him. So circumstantial evidence can be gleaned from this story. That is why in the Quran there are stories, allegories, and there are direct, clear ayats which anybody can understand. But of course when you read it in Malay or in English, the pundits will tell you, the ulamas will tell you, that is not the Quran. That is not the Quran. You are not reading the Quran. The Quran is in Arabic. I agree. What you are reading is not the Quran. But what he is teaching me is also in Malay. Can I accept his teaching as coming from the Quran? It is his interpretation of the teachings of Islam in Malay that he is telling me. If he were to teach me Islam in Arabic, I wouldn't know anything about Islam. So when they say that this translation of the Quran is not the Quran, then they should also try and teach Islam to their students in Arabic, and they will find ignorant Muslims all the way through.